Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. We're going to be continuing our game development today. Hopefully, we can actually get through that file loader. I'm going to be trying something new with it, so probably going to be bumpy, but if we actually get it working, that will remove an element of complexity from some of the data loading. Well, an element of maintenance complexity. Code complexity will go up a little bit. But before we get into that, let's check in with the kitties. We do have Ember up in her spot. And we have... I mean, that's got to be Sherbet there, but... I'm gonna zoom in, actually. It's got to be Sherbet. That's his spot. Yeah, that's Sherbet. Normally we see him curled up with his head further in it, as opposed to head almost sticking out entirely of the little house. He's a little sweetheart. But yeah, coding today. So what we're trying to do is cascade backwards, sort of backwards through our file loading. I'm still intending to use JSON for the loading mechanism. I've got some of that started. This is the actual convert a CSV line to JSON stuff that I've got commented. For the time being, we're just going to mess with the actual files that currently contain JSON and try to get that going. So when we're reading a file, we are going to await this call out to it. We want to deserialize it asynchronously, because in the deserialization, there is going to be... Not that one. There are going to be moments where we need to get an element from the catalog, but that element might not yet be loaded, so we need to essentially wait, or loop back around and wait. There's some nuance to this that I want to iterate on. So first we're going to get it to where we're just looping on it. This will be inefficient in the threads that it's running in. Because what we'll have is we'll just have a spinning thread trying to get a value. We know right now that it will eventually get that value. Everything that's loaded exists by the end of the load process, or everything that should be there exists by the end of the process. Great, that's wonderful. But longer term, we want two things. Is one, there's no reason for that thread to spin fast. It could wait like a whole second between attempts to get the value, and we would still be in decent shape. Well, we wouldn't want to wait a whole second, but that's kind of the idea, is it can wait a decent amount of time before it checks again, because there could be a whole cascade of files that it has to wait for. But for now, we'll just let it spin away. The other is there needs to be a bailout condition. At some point, it needs to say, hey there, Laura. At some point, it will need to say that, okay, I've been checking for long enough, or I have received some sort of signal that says, we're not going to load any more things. And as such, there's no way I can find what I'm looking for if I haven't found it already. And if that happens, stop looking and report a problem. So in this particular case, if I'm trying to find a file of an object of a particular name while reading a particular file, what I want to do is ripple that back down and say, in this file, this name is missing. In this row, this name is missing. So that we would be able to then hunt down the problem. Ideally, it would be, in the base files, this file is missing. In this mod, this file is missing. For both like troubleshooting, but also when you are editing things, being able to quickly find out, yeah, you messed this up. The following things can't load because they can't find this stuff. So to get this working, we need to have iteration here and in some other spots. So are there overrides we can use here? For this one, just to be sure. Okay, no. Not this one. So we're going to use the whole async conversion process here. And we'll need to throw some sort of exception in the read if it fails. Like that. So this is a raw name converter. What the name converter does is if a field is set up using this, what we'll do is we'll take the string that it contains in that field, and instead of using it as a string, we use that as an identifier to the catalog to get what we're looking for. With the assumption that we will then get an item back. This is the point at which we need to add the new logic, is that this little chunk here. And there'll be a similar chunk elsewhere. It's hello, Emperor. Yeah. We are going to spin on this. So it'll be something like do catalogable null. So we'll flesh this little bit out here. Hey there, Dodds. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm not familiar. What is it Hushka? Or Hushka? Today we're going to try to async our file loading so that we can remove manual load order system. Hushka, okay. What's Hushka? Today we're trying to make it so our load sequence is asynchronous. That way, when we are loading things up, it will wait. It will be waiting for us to get a result. So if other files contain, or in the longer term, if other lines contain what we're waiting for, we will eventually load those and get the result. Polish cabbage dish. Huh. Not a big cabbage fan, but or onions. I think the only like Polish adjacent food that I recall is kielbasa. The sausages, or that type of sausage. Okay, so here we're spinning there. So now need our name list converter. And we're going to do the same thing, with the list converter having an extra wrinkle. That it's okay if it returns nothing, but if any element of the list fails, then we have failed. In theory, if the name is empty, that's okay. I'm sorry, if each element of it, if any of them are empty, that's okay. It would be stupid to do that. But that's still technically doing what it's told. So if I give it 5 empty elements, it's going to be an empty list. But that's not an error condition. That's just a sloppy entry. I am also eventually going to be going into our catalog, and I'm going to be removing the type specifier. Inside the catalog, I may still be recording these are behavior groups, that kind of thing. But at the moment, there's not really a reason to do that. Roguelite Metroidvania dungeon crawler missions. One of the aspects of the way that we're building this up is that the actual way the game functions, like let's call it the physics of the world, the core gameplay loop, those elements are separate of the data loading and the gameplay loop is separate of the world physics and data loading. So once I have all of the data loaded and similar, there's nothing stopping me for having different world states. Like I could make some separate repos for this is the Metroidvania part, or this is a Metroidvania version, Also, hey, Lunar. Okay. So we need the same loop here. Minus equal. Double check this other one. Yeah, okay. Set it up. Okay, we redeclare it here. Yeah, that makes sense. Because we're going to iterate on this sequence over and over. Now, with the list converter, it's only going to find the first failure in the list. If there's multiple, then it's going to abort in the middle of one and report it. Let's see. Okay. So this is going to make those spin along. Then during the file reader, we are awaiting an asynchronous version of each file read. Then in our base catalog, this is one of the things I want to get away from. I may still ultimately have this kind of collection set up, but I may even do that as post-processing to say, I want particular categories, particular types to have their own dictionaries, but I don't actually care about all of them having their own dictionaries. Let's actually get this in here the same way. So if there's a texture file, we're going to try to get the image. Okay, no, this is a load the texture. This is an absolute. We're not getting. We are retrieving this file. We are not. Yeah. So this isn't a catalog load. I just wanted to make sure of that kind of thing. Okay. We don't have to worry about the rights. We're pretty much not using right. Basically. Okay. Then in our file reader, we have a read individual file. It is async. We are going to await that. I've actually been playing a game recently called Talented. It is, roguelite. It's very light on the ground, ultimately. But the entire battle mechanism is effectively, it's kind of a bullet heaven, but your interaction is use one of 4 abilities and aim in one of 4 directions at a time. And fight off waves of monsters from those 4 directions. Like 4 linear directions. It would be absolutely possible to have that kind of mechanism here. Yeah, it's got a tower defense vibe. And that's kind of what I was talking about here is actually a lot of the game loop would be the same. It would just be the way that the spawns happen. Okay, so we have that. Then in our base catalog when we are loading stuff. So we have get directory file content is where we're iterating over it and say get each of these files. If you look at our file reader, we are doing that right here. Is we're saying this is the name of the file, open it, get a catalogable out of it, await the read, catch an exception, close the stream. But we need... the current pattern would require us to be able to return this. We need it to be a... this is a task catalogable. So we would call read file in this case. It's going to take that one file, open it, and get a catalogable from it, with the assertion that this read will happen, and the actual deserializes can spin waiting for one of the elements. So in our base catalog then, instead of doing all of this, we are going to get our catalogable. We're going to go all the way down to here. Okay, so we have the name of the file is ultimately what we're going to record it as. This is going to move to a different spot once we're closer to where we want to end up. But we need to get the catalogable at this point. We are going to say catalogable is equal to file reader in its current form can be static. I'm looking at cancellation tokens because that is one way to stop an async, or one way to communicate to tell an async stop, is to set up a cancellation source and to make the token available when you do the asynchronous call or the task run, is to give it that token, and then either when you are creating it or otherwise, once I have that token, I can look at it and say, oh, the cancel has happened, break the loop kind of stuff. Additionally, if the cancel is set to cancel and we haven't actually begun that task yet, it just won't begin it. But that part is highly unlikely. Static. Okay, so then in the catalog, we can say catalog file reader dot read file path. I'm gonna say await that. in theory, we should be at a point where this will work. Let's try it. We're still loading them in a random order. All right, we are spinning now. All right, I think I know where we are failing. Hello, Lucky. Or Lukey. Welcome. Okay, we have an await for each one, but we don't want to await. I'm sorry, we don't want to wait for each one of these to complete. What we are going to do is we're going to run the task and await each of them. No, this will be a... Parse. Perception check. Yes, perception check is funny. Tom Cardy is a good one. He has a lot of the energy of Weird Al Yankovic. Less of parodies and more of his own things. No, we're doing programming today. Okay, so select task, await all. And that is going to take an array of tasks. Okay, we can still... We can make a list, and then we're going to do a to array in there. We can have stop add need an action for that. How do we format syntactically here? I could just make this a temporary function. We could just have structure that. Hey there, all. Okay. Task.run should return a task, and that will add this to the collection. What this task is running is an asynchronous function that returns the result of catalog read file. I hate everything about how I have to format this. Lambdas bother me. Not because they're not functional or anything like that. They do exactly what you want them to. It's just that they're less legible. Often. They are often less legible. Come on, Sky. Come on, sit down. So I'm telling it run a task, and that task is ultimately this. But I need to pass in a function. This will be fine, though. This should totally be fine. So this is our for loop getting the file. So then, after that for loop, we are going to say task dot wait all. Await that. Or no, I'm sorry. Wait. So we're waiting for all of these to be done now. And then for each task in tasks, for each one of them, we are going to do this. And it is going to be task dot should be like a result. don't need that part necessarily. Think. So we should be getting catalog name here. So catalogable.catalog name is equal to catalog name. Okay, so now we go back into base catalog. We don't need this portion. That has already been put in there. So it should be catalogable.catalog name. Okay. Hey, James. Because it should implement all of those things. We have a bracket closure issue. Close, open, close, open, close, that's fine. Yeah, we have broken our closures somewhere. It's in this somewhere. We don't need that because we're doing all of this somewhere here. Yeah. Yeah, there's some extra curly braces hiding somewhere. All right, this gets closed early. This gets closed before here. It is this little guy here. This if did not have a proper open close. Does it run properly? Pause. Collision harm 1. Hello, Daniel. Welcome. Once again. Okay, this isn't working how we want it to. I don't know. What's happening, Daniel? Well, I suspect bad stuff in some format there, Daniel. Good luck. He should have gotten here. Okay, so that's not happening. Why not happen? Still coding the game. Still coding the game. We're changing the file loading to be asynchronous. Oh. Because we're never doing what we told it to do. Oops. When we load files, we are no longer calling get directory file content. We're getting to that point right now because we are in the midst of a non-trivial change. I cannot load it properly. files. Okay. If we were to instead, when we're calling load files, we're just going to call it on the data path. We don't really care about any of this. Contents, data, path. Don't care about T anywhere in this. Generate over all of the subdirectories. Type info. Not types. Loggable. Not get type. We must be getting a bit of a weird echo effect if you have all three streams active at once, James. Such a mess. Okay. Okay, we are waiting for all of these to complete. We're calling read file on the path. Let's get into here first. We have many, many files, all of the files to read. Ah. We need to move that. That one's going to cause a problem. Files. We will need a way to bail out of files. That comes later, though. Malformed file needs to be accounted for. We're still awaiting all here. I think the tasks may be malformed. Okay, we're going to step away for a moment. I will be right back. Vibe coding has really got to be one of those. Oh, that's going to be a blight for a while. It really is. So this is fundamentally still not doing what we want because it is blocking. That is, this is holding the entire thread. Checking something here. Yeah, we are heading into a period of time, James, where there is going to be a generation of developers that have developed their skill set using machine learning code to facilitate using generative AI to create a non-trivial portion of their code, and they're going to be looking up code for their reference that is generative AI generated code. And that code will be increasingly trained on the same code. So the ability for individuals to actually do their code is going to decay. There is going to be a period where professional pressure within projects and from project management will be such that actual code review and knowledge of how the code actually works and how it should work is going to decay. We are going to get code bases that are largely spaghetti, that people don't know how it works, like the owners of the code do not understand or know it whatsoever. There will be bug fixes and similar that are based off of that understanding as well, driven by generative AI, not by the coder. So there will be a compounding period. Will it go away? No, and I don't think it needs to go away. As an assisting tool, it's great, but professional pressure is going to be such that for a while, it's not an assisting tool. People will be pushed to use it as the actual driving force behind a code change. And that's going to be a problem. Looking for how I should structure this to actually get what I want. Because what I want to do is await multiple things.
Oh.
No, yeah, that's right. It's in practice, trying to let the AI write your full solution is trouble. There is a layer of application development where the inner workings don't matter as much. As far as like the consumer is concerned, the inner workings generally don't matter. There is a risk surface involved when that level extends all the way down to the actual programmers behind it. If you don't understand what the code is supposed to be doing, you can't truly verify that it is actually doing that. So when an issue is presented, if your only solution to that issue is to then ask the AI again, hey, fix this issue, you don't know that it's fixed. It might look like it's fixed in the X iterations that you did. Oh, but the unit tests will do it. Did you write the unit tests, or did you let the generative AI write them? Because if they just pass and you don't understand how the code is supposed to work, then those unit tests could ultimately just say, yeah, this always works. Okay, we can't await all of these because the current pattern is such that it will not actually load it into the catalog. So we're not actually waiting on a task to all the tasks to complete before we do this. Instead, what we want is for the task to complete, get me an iCatalogable is equal to await this. I now have a catalogable. And for that catalogable, I am going to do this. So this is just a task. It is not a task that is expected to return. Yep, James, that is the world that we already live in, where people are producing false results from AI, and because the AI tells them that it's not a false result, they assert that they are right, no matter what a subject expert says. It's like, no, you definitely should. Even if you were to then point out on a circuit board, yeah, this is the part where it would explode. They would say, no, but ChatGPT says it's right. Or ChatGPT says you're wrong. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run this task where we say, now I'm concerned that it's capturing this. I don't want it to capture the current state of the dictionary. We'll see if this works. So what we're doing is we're getting the result of the file read, and we're going to try to load that into the catalog. That is not inaccurate, Dodds. We have actually reached a stage where the way some folks are approaching programming, or at least talking about it, is very similar to the whole vibe of I am lighting the sacred incense and chanting the necessary scripture to ask the machine spirit to complete this task for me. I feel like my tasks are still potentially malformed here, but as opposed to you don't know, it doesn't know what it's doing. You don't know that it's going to do what you want. Okay, we have 2 random completions, several waiting activations. Okay, this. We're in the middle of task iteration, so hope that this showed us something, but I guess it won't. There we go. Move your count. The fact that some of these threads... Okay, we have 8. 9 threads there. 12 of those, 18 total. But there's way more files than that. It is possible if we only have that many that we have a problem. Let's... need... After we attempt, we need to make sure that... Put another way, if all of these things aren't attempted, if every one of these tasks is not being given its opportunity, then it is possible that we get into deadlock. Because some of these were waiting for collision, but those weren't loaded yet. We were getting nothing loaded. We are making way too many changes at once, but... There we go. We still have some flaws here. Loading all of the text. We should still be getting textures, though. Should have an item empty in the catalog. Because we're not done loading yet. Funsies. System is running really slowly right now. Like, real slow. We definitely need to add some delay into these. Okay, I still have concerns that we aren't running all of them. That there isn't a point at which let's make sure. One moment. Testing. There we go. I think we're back. Yeah. Oh, it exploded. Okay, Tess. So, what I need is for the threads to be able to yield so that other threads can run. What we had was about 18 threads trying to read individual files that they could never complete because the other ones weren't getting to start. And on top of that, they were hard spinning on it, so they were super duper busy. So what is the syntax to sleep a thread for a little bit? Away. Okay, that's what we're creating right here. Or at least we have an async function. So like a task.factory.from. No. Joking. We need to make a task from this, and then we need to return the task. Okay. Okay. This does not need to return something. It populates the content of the array. If this task completes, it do its thing. We're all learning together. Well, that is much better. Thank you. I hate trying to use lambdas anyway. As mentioned before, lambdas make for ugly code most of the time. Okay, does it explode? Brace for another blue screen. Uh-oh. Okay. So while this is running, it completely chokes the system still. So because I have it paused right now, audio can happen. We are currently running 19. That's not nearly enough things happening. We are in deadlock. Because the 19 that are being read are not going to be enough to complete. All it takes is one of these and they're done. So we need a way to make it so that if a thread does not get its result, that it can get through it. I mean, I like the simplicity here. It's as far as like the whole lambda question. I just like the readability of the code. The lambdas work fine. Said a lot of times you could just write a function by themselves and it would be just as readable instead of arbitrarily creating a bunch of micro ones inside of a function. Anyway. So we open file, we try to deserialize contents, and we move along. So the actual operation is in the converter. In the converter, we're currently just doing a do while. This is what I was referring to, is we need to break this somehow so that there is a breather, I think. So that we can say, hey, this thread, this particular one, needs to take a moment. Because it's never going to complete until some other thread completes, until some other file is done. Even if we were in CSV land, we would get into this circumstance. But instead of a whole file, it would be a line in that file. It's still ultimately deserialize text, and one line in that text is causing it to wait. We are still in paused execution. If I press this button, there's a decent chance everything goes wrong again. Yeah, most of them are in get catalogable. They're waiting their turn here. But there are like 100 some files, and each one of these threads is effectively one of those files. So there's only 19 of them being read. I would love to see something like a history test. At the moment, I think maybe none of them. I've only ever seen, I think, 2 of them complete. But we should be able to see. So if we look in here, catalogables. Two gates have completed. Wait 3 and collision gate have completed. None of the textures, none of the targeters, none of the behaviors. Entities. Entities isn't surprising if we don't have behaviors. Yeah, we got through the 2 gates. Yes, there is an infinite loop test. That's what I've been saying. This will infinitely loop if one of the files doesn't complete. I am waiting on files to complete. They can't. There are only 19 of them running. There are 100 files. Any of these 19 could be waiting on the other other 90. So that's why I need to cycle these if this solution is going to work. Like, one of these 19 needs to take a break and let one of the other 90 step in and try to run. Otherwise, we're just rolling the dice that these X threads actually get to do what I need them to do. On the plus side, we are seeing the UI thread, so I could have a, hey, wait for the load to get done. It never will. But we could have like a loading bar that just spins forever. We're achieving Windows. Let's see here. We're gonna end this run so I don't accidentally have it execute and have it explode. We don't need another blue screen. Okay. system dot print wasn't always reliable for this. Run it, then we're going to pause it so I can talk. Debug out, but so debug print will show up on the Godot side. I need a different output to get it to appear here. Is it have a better debug dot option? Debug should show it, but we don't see anything when I'm running in C#. That may be because Godot is overriding where it goes. And I'm not confident that running this in Godot is safe, because I can't interrupt the C# code as easily. Let's look out here. If we do that. I don't know if this will actually function because we're not in the middle of a console application. Tab work. Doc. More practically. So these ones are waiting on things like collision bounce. waiting on Pierce. Pierce. Checking. Let's try that then. Hello, Sketcher. Stop. Wait, that's not what we want. Ew. I think, Tess, the example you sent was specifically Unity, and Unity has its own mono compiler. How was the day been, Sketcher? I mean, good. It's productive. We've blue screened ourselves once already. Let's do another quick check here. Excited for summer? Not really. Summer's not ultimately my kind of season. I like it cold. delay work here? Just do a task.delay? No. Thing. There's something I always say about dealing with weather, and that is if it's really cold, you can always add more layers, more blankets, turn up the heat, that kind of thing, within reason. But if it gets too hot, you can only get so naked. So it doesn't like this because apparently it thinks this is... I mean, there's a point at which you are out of coverings to remove, and at that point, flensing knives would be necessary. Can it do that? We can't do that. This is an override on the converter. That? The problem is not here. Actually, why did this suddenly break? Like, that was working. Okay, that's why. This itself is not asynchronous. The whole operation is asynchronous. But if I do a await in this, we have changed the function. So a JSON converter doesn't have that. Wait. Do that. Oh, wait. There's not a read async for this. We'll have to carve deeper to get to that, because get catalogable currently expects a type marker. If I remove that from the base catalog entirely. All right, well, in for penny, in for a pound. Let's go. This is going to break all of the things. That. In our catalog. Copy. may have to go down that direction, Task, but that will be architected very differently than what we're doing. That is not really a problem. This part I'm doing here is something that I wanted to do anyway. Loggable. Why can I not? That's what an iCatalogable is. Is there another catalogable, for the love of God? iCatalogable isn't... Well, let me verify. Oh, it's an abstract class. Do we even need this? I messed up that syntax. Hey there, Dark. Should be... We are trying to make a game, and I'm messing up all my syntax here. Ah. Yeah. Okay. right before, wasn't it? Oh. Have this somewhere else. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we were doing it right. We were doing it right. Okay. It's going to be so ugly. I could still have the type marker here, but I don't really care. Right there, that thing where it suggested, hey, you should use T here. That's not at all true. Like, it would not make sense to use T there. But because there are places where I did that previously, it says, oh, you must mean to do that. That doesn't make sense in that context. But yeah, Dark. We are making a game, and you're getting to see all of the. There we go. There we go. Okay, it's getting the right answer now. No, let's move here. Gate. Move here. Move here. At the rate we're going, this is going to be just the ugliest commit if this works. But the copy by type that I was using, I don't really want the way like that way anymore. Could we do it that way? Yes, and what I may do is have overrides for it that are like copy behavior that just kind of mask what's going on by swapping it out by doing this part for me. But for the time being, we are just going to do explicit casting here. Entity. All right, real quick check here. Still spinning like crazy. Okay, we're down to 16 threads. Let's look at where we are sitting currently. This one's in the read. It's in the catalogable name converter. Catalogables. Okay, we're still only getting the 2. But now we should be able to get something in here elsewhere. Yeah, we need a way in the task to delay the result. Which might just be that we need to restructure how our task is formatted here. Where we say await read the file path, what we may need to do is allow it to fail. Allow the JSON parse to fail all the way through. Yeah. We more do it here, where we try to read the file, and if that serialization fails, then we wait, and we loop around again. So we could do a try here. What is it called? JSON exception. Oh, well, okay. That makes sense. Doesn't really need to be in await anymore, but we're gonna. And then in the serializer. Yes, Donald, we are coding. We're writing our game right now. Um, we're in the midst of a change that is effectively a massively breaking change. So I can't show you guys anything that is like visually in progress, but you get to see a lot of code. Then in our name converter, instead of a do while, we are going to say that. We could just say, I kind of want to have a throw here. We're going to try it with that. Let's get the list converter as well. It's because this is not being captured. Our try catch outside is not being captured. So this could be null when we return it. That's okay. Then in our file read here, okay, we have read file is returning a catalogable. Else. Wait, stop delay. Run. Pause. There's still only 17 threads going. They're not going berserk, though. That is good. You know. It's like it's not getting to the other ones. Um, Here, let's break in the operative area here. File contents. Okay, we're building our task array here. So we have all of them at the time. Interesting. We should be able to get to that. See, this says they're all in external code. How could that be the case? We should eventually hit this, is the thing. Again, this is better than process lock and possible blue screen. Quote unquote better. It should bounce. Why is it hanging there? Okay, be right back in just a moment. We will resume. And we're back. Okay. Yes, it was. Oops. Okay, so it's like the thread is bouncing off when it hits the call to actually get the catalogable. Let's verify that we're actually getting in there. Okay, so we're trying to get bounce. We try get value, it's null. We come back around, we want the icon for bounce. We want rotate in. We don't get it. Rotate in. We don't get it. Yarn ball, we don't get it. Mouse, we don't get it. Orbit, out. We are getting a lot of different ones. But it's odd that we're not getting anything out of it, is the problem. But we are getting different ones running. That's good. But it's like they're not getting into the catalog. Okay, let's look for in our actual logic here. We want where we load them into the catalog. Because here we have a collision gate. We have an inventory item for bounce. and yarn and wind up mouse. We are getting things loaded. But not all of them. There are some that are wrong. Okay. We need services catalogables. We are looking for item empty. Item empty. And it's saying that it's texture. I think we had that one loaded. Windows is desperately trying to get us to use things like hopefully that doesn't show for too long. Second here. Oh, it's like we're not getting a texture loaded. For empty item. Let's look that up. Checking data folder, item, empty. Its icon is icon blank. Icon blank is data textures icon, icon blank. Hmm. Hello, Boom. Why is icon blank? Why is that not loading? Let's put that out there. Any icon loaded or texture wrappers loaded for that. Icon blank does exist. Let's see, what is our... Okay, this is our item empty. And our icon, we should be trying to get... Our icon is still null. We're getting a texture wrapper. Which should, in our JSON logic, be using this. Are getting some of these. Explosion. Pierce. I can probably restructure this whole thing for the other one to be different than it currently is, because right now, when we're defining things, let's look at entity. Yeah, we have catalogable name converter, and we say behavior, but this could just be assumed to be a iCatalogable, like always. But in any event, we need to look at items. Items have texture wrappers for icons. We're calling in and we're using a texture wrapper with the name converter for it. So that should be loading fine. Oh, so texture name converter is largely doing the same thing that the other ones do. Never getting an exception when we're loading them. It's just that we're not getting those icons loaded. catalogables. We are getting textures for them. Some of them do indeed have textures. We're debugging in real time. Should be playing. Oh. Molly strikes again. Okay, but if we look at services, catalogables, inventory item, we need icon. Icon blank does have. It's that the texture wrapper object in this particular case is wrong. So we're going to go to here. We're going to step into this. This is the flaw zone, where we're going to call into get inventory item, which is going to call into get catalog, and we're going to cast it to an inventory item. And our key is item empty. So we have achieved catalogable. Its icon is null, though. So something is going wrong with this process for item empty. Item empty's icon is null. Okay. Okay, so where did we end up today? Let's essentially say we're wrapping up there, since I've got more digging to do. So we have got the asynchronous file load in. We need to position it differently. When we call the load on the catalog, that needs to be a call and wait. That is, we say load up the files, and we do not proceed with the startup operation until files have loaded. Effectively, that could be another task situation. But things like the buttons and whatnot should not be functional until we have loaded up the files and we're ready to go. So effectively, a series of flags at the start have to be raised. The files are done loading is one. And we could tighten up the file load time by not waiting for a whole second before we try the file again. But we are that far along, and what this is allowing us to do is say, I don't need to specify that you need to load behaviors before you load entities. It's just whatever order they're in the file, we're going to try to load them. And we will keep iterating on that until it actually works. Once we have this version of it fully functional, we're going to change over from reading we're going to change over from reading whole files of JSON to reading lines from a CSV, converting them into JSON, and parsing that JSON line by line. So the files become lines in a CSV. We can have as many CSVs as we want in this process. But what that'll mean is, for the purposes of editing my stuff, there will be big delimited files instead of a whole bunch of individual files to hunt down. This would, in theory, be good. Yeah, we're kind of automating that. Previously, what we were doing is going through a great big list of folders to say, load this one, okay, now load this one, now load this one. That itself wouldn't have really been the problem. The real problem is, one, I still don't want to have like individual files for, this is the rotation file, this is the collision bounce file, this is, even with CSVs, I don't want to have each of those things separated out. So I want to have the ability to say I only separate them if I want to, for some reason. So I can have the one big file. This will look in the entire data folder and say, load all of these files. I could have it be, separate folders so that images are kept separate, but it will take all those text files and try to load them. Then we proceed further along with the load. So this is all good. There is a problem in some of the image loading that we're running into, because the icon objects are not being properly parsed. That's what we're going to have to find next, is catching that scenario and tightening it down. Let me check a couple of things real quick. Yeah. So we're going to have to work on that a little bit more. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. For the coming schedule, it'll be up today or tomorrow. Like I mentioned, we're going to try to do, we're going to load up An Amazing Wizard again. That is a side-scrolling kind of action platformer that is going down a similar road to what we are as far as the idea behind weaponry, and that's creating custom stuff from pieces as opposed to much more fixed elements. They've done some kind of game feel changes, and I want to see how that looks now. We will not be continuing our playthrough of the 100 line, Last Defense Academy, because I really didn't like something that they did in the plot, like character-wise. There were some behaviors of the character that I find morally objectionable, and it is made worse by the fact that the narrative and the other characters effectively accept the bad part of that behavior. Like, they think the worst part of that behavior is actually okay. And I just won't. I'm interested to see how some of the other elements of the plot go, but my interest in the game plummeted as a result of that. It would have been different if they had given us the option to say, do you want to go along with this guy? But even though they asked us the question of, do you want to go along with him? It prevented us from saying no. We had to say yes. And I don't. So we're going to find something else to fill that in with, which probably means extra observation duty. Which I'm down with. I like observation duty, so we'll probably do some more of that. Yeah. The plan fails anyway, Tass, and then it still makes it sound like it's okay that it's okay that we tried, because the bad reasons were good reasons. So we'll see there. We do have a Monster Hunter World update coming at the end of the month. I'm working on something with some folks so that we get some collab playthroughs of that again. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Oh, okay, folks. Well, I hope you had a good time debugging with us. We got to see a lot of fun things, like a blue screen happen on stream. That's fun times. We will be we'll be doing more of this week. I am trying to make sure that we get multiple programming streams each week so that we can resume getting progress going. I do want to get back to the point where I can show you stuff and we can get back to adding actual game content into the game, as opposed to working on the guts and skeleton of it here. But with all that said, I hope you had a good time watching with us today. If you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, follow, subscribe. Drop me a comment on the YouTube videos. I try to respond to all of them. It all helps the channel grow and helps me understand the kind of things you like seeing. In the meantime, though, I hope the rest of your day is good, and I'll see you next time.